Chronicles.
Okay, welcome back to the Chronicles, the Journeyman Chronicles, JMC. Your boy Felix C. Arroyo is here with you right now, about to bring you episode 27, the foundation episode that I recorded live at TCP Studio in Lancaster City. It was good to be in my old stomping grounds, my home. Had a good time. Excited for what is to come. I wanted to share that with you right now. And as I continue to share my content through TCP, I am excited how much more I can continue delivering to you. So here it is. This is from this past Wednesday, April 13th. This was live at the TCP studio, episode 27. My Journey Part 6. This is Foundation. Check it out. This is episode 27, the continuation of my episodes of the Journeyman Chronicles. If you are not hip, please check me out. I am on Spotify. I am on iTunes, iHeart. You can see me on Amazon Music. You're catching me live right now. I'm at TCP Studios. Episode 27 of the Journeyman Chronicles is going to be the sixth part of my journey, Journey Part 6. If you are hip to what I do, if you listen to the episode from last week, I shared some of my interviews, and I have some more in my catalog. What I did not share with you, though, is not only am I doing interviews, but I'm also sharing different parts of my journey. It's my way of sharing with you bits and pieces of things that I've gone through, so you can see where I've been and how I've gotten here, what I've gone through to get here. I feel that if I'm asking people to be a little vulnerable and open themselves up for an interview and share their journey, that I should in turn do the same thing. So I decided to share bits and pieces of my journey. I've got 5 episodes of those, 5 different parts. Today I wanted to do part 6. I wanted to talk about a foundation. And I want to share with you something that I saw in the paper. I was reading the Sunday newspaper. Yes, I still read the Sunday newspaper. Actually, I was reading the daily paper, but I was having a hard time keeping up with removing the newspaper from the bag. And I had like a collection in my garage. And my wife and I decided I should probably stop paying for a subscription if I'm not maintaining it on a daily basis. So I just get the Sunday paper now, and my wife might even argue that I have a hard time even reading that paper. But I do rebuttal with, I read it throughout the week. But I did read Sunday's paper pretty thoroughly. And if you got Sunday's paper, right in the front page here, I'm looking at an article from the Lancaster Watchdog. Every now and then they got, pretty cool little articles in here from Lancaster Watchdog. What they're talking about is a garage on Queen Street. It's about 10 years old. The garage right there above Queen Street Bistro. Used to be Federal Tap House. This 10-year-old downtown garage is in talks right now with a local developer to expand vertically. What they've done is they bought the air rights above the garage. Forget this, a whopping $790,000. Now, my journey isn't so much about the garage, even though I've got a lot of questions, like, that's freaking crazy that you can actually purchase air rights above a building for $790,000 to boot. And listen, you got, I don't know, they're looking at 1-bedroom apartments and studio apartments, 70 to 90 of them, 4 to 6 stories high above the garage. Whoa, that's crazy. I mean, look, I'm a simple guy. I love Lancaster City, and I love how it's growing. I do. And the condominiums, they look great. You know, it'd be nice to see some affordable housing, but apparently in this article, they do talk about how there was an attempt back in 2017 to get some affordable housing developed on top of that garage, but it just didn't work out. But a question that I had while reading this article, why does it matter? Why am I bringing it up? Is how do you decide to build on top of a pre-existing garage? One would think that the weight of this structure would be jeopardized because when you build a garage, you're not expecting to build on top of it. Or in this case, they actually were. As you read along, you find out that they actually built this garage with hopes in the future to build vertically on top of it. Now, the air rights are, in negotiation, so to speak, with a local developer, and we'll see how that pans out. But it got me thinking. You need to have a strong foundation before you even think about building. And there's different types of scenarios and examples that one could think of. The one that I thought of immediately as I was reading this article in the Sunday newspaper was when I was going through my shit, my focus was my children and myself. But more importantly, and listen to what I'm saying here, more importantly, my focus was myself. I had to get my core foundation solid. I had to get it sound. If I didn't do that, my kids were going to be SOL. Now, of course, while I'm doing this, my children are my focus, my primary focus, and they were. But you can't do anything in this life at all without having some sort of solid foundation. When I got my apartment not far from here, my apartment was on Ruby Street in Lancaster. It was a simple apartment. I think I was paying $640 or $630 for a one bedroom. But it was like I stated earlier in the podcast. If anybody's listening that has followed along, I talked about this in Ground Zero. I had to start over. This was my Ground Zero, but it was also a perfect opportunity to build a solid foundation. I had a lot of dreams. I had a lot of goals. I had a lot of plans. And the last thing I wanted to do was rush into something without planning it out, thinking it through, doing the research. And that goes for everything. That goes for financially planning. That goes for romanticizing or a romantical relationship, planning for that. Romance and finance, friendships, business, you're all basing everything off of some sort of solid foundation, a structure underneath that's going to be able to hold and maintain whatever you throw at it. Because if you don't, you're fucked. And I had that on my mind for about 2 years in my apartment. I had that on my mind. I would talk with my kids. I would see how they're doing. I would pay attention. The foundation. When we look at the garage that's being, looked at to be built upon because of air rights being purchased, they foresaw this already. That was part of the gig. That was part of the plan. And so this garage was constructed and built with way more support because of the added weight that would be placed on top. Now, one of the things that I was trying to do while I was in my apartment was planning for a home. And I actually had all my ducks in a row, so to speak, and I thought I was on par with having a solid foundation and a structure that was sound. But for whatever reason, God or, the energy of the universe, whatever the fuck you want to call it, had other plans. So that to me was an indication that maybe my foundation wasn't as strong as it needed to be to start making these moves. What happened to me was I was in a car accident that wasn't my fault, but my car was totaled. Somebody rear-ended me on Route 283, on 283 coming home from work. It was snowy out. I came to a stop. Traffic was backed up, a lot of snow, and the car behind me just, I don't know if it slid or it just didn't even stop, but it just sent me flying across 283, both lanes. I'm in the median. The car's totaled. Right up to this point, I'm literally talking to a friend of mine who's helping me get my credit back together. She's telling me I'm this close to doing it. I just got to do A, B, and C. But the accident took place, and I then needed to, take the money that they gave me and get a new car. And what I thought was a hiccup ended up being, a blessing in disguise, because it helped me stay focused, and it helped me try to think of different ways to build upon my foundation. So what I ended up doing was I ended up getting my money a little bit more right, so to speak. I started capitalizing on some loose ends. I started crossing my T's, dotting my I's, because now I had a car payment that I wasn't prepared for. That completely throws everything out the window. When you plan, God laughs. Anyway, the foundation that I thought I had wasn't solid enough. It wasn't strong enough. As much as I wanted a home, and as much as I wanted to badly get a home for my children, I really needed to slow down and start fixing some of my bad habits, some of my bad spending habits. And I thought I had that under control. And then, of course, past mistakes come and bite me in my ass. And I ended up, getting sued by a previous landlord, and that threw me into bankruptcy. And we can talk about that some other time. But all of these experiences that I share, they're all based around a foundation. If you're trying to start a business and you're working with somebody, you obviously want to make sure your foundation's right. In my case, when I met my wife and I wanted to bring her into my life because I knew the kids would benefit from Alexandra, I needed to make sure that the bond between Alexandra and I was strong, was good. I can't, you can't build a castle out of sand. The irony is, people do it all the time at the beach, but those fucking castles fall apart. They fall apart. So I'm looking at this garage, and that's the first thing that I'm thinking of is, wow, they're gonna actually build a 4 to 5, maybe 6-story building on top of this fucking garage. This shit better be solid, and it is. Now, like I said in the very beginning, God, how many more condominiums could be used? But look, hey, they look beautiful. I get it. And look, considering the fact that they're talking about these rooms going for, $1,100 to $1,600 a month, okay. They're 1-bedroom and studio apartments. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Forgive me, guys. I'm trying to find my footing here. Zach Whitman, what's up? Henderson, what's up? Johnny Mac, hello again. Yes, we are live here. I decided to do this live on my page because I want to continue to get used to doing shit like this. And I got to get used to it. I'll be quite honest with you. Talking on the mic when nobody can see me is a completely different ballgame. I'm a little bit more comfortable with that. You know what I mean? But in front of the camera, it's an added bonus. And it's something I got to get used to. I'll be honest. I'm glad I shaved this beard down a little bit. I had a feeling I might be in front of a camera. I shaved down the beard because it was starting to get a little rough. Todd, what up, my guy? Guys, appreciate you watching. A lot of people that I work with know about my story, and if you don't, I know that you guys are sharing the struggle and trying to maintain a strong foundation. And sometimes you're watching, the other half of, if you have children, the other half of that situation, and you want them to make good, sound decisions for your children's sake. You want them to have a strong foundation for your children's sake. And it's frustrating, and I know, and I'm sure some of you are experiencing that, when you see the lack of effort being put towards trying to maintain a strong foundation. When your children benefit from anything like a strong foundation, it's better for everybody. It really is. And we all know what it's like when you don't have that, if you're going through, a co-parenting situation. When you're going through a co-parenting situation and the other half isn't building a strong foundation, it's extra work for you. It's extra work for you because now you got to make sure you really cross your T's and dot your I's and really build a super strong foundation, because they're not getting it on the other side. And I'm not speculating. I know that for a fact that's how it is. It's not like that for everybody, but it exists. And that goes for men and women. Are you building a strong foundation? Are you looking at yourself first and saying, none of this shit's going to be possible unless I take a look at myself and start with me and start looking at my flaws and fixing my core? And I'm talking about like inner, not physical. I'm talking about you, your insides, your heart, your soul. What makes you you? Be honest with yourself. Start with yourself. Capitalize on your small achievements. Make progress by capitalizing on your small achievements, but build your foundation. I know I said I would get into it later, and I am, because there's a lot more to get into. But when I had to file for bankruptcy, and I'll get into that later, some other time, not now, I had to cancel all my bank, my checking account. I had to remove my bank. I had to shut it down. I had no bank account. Let's just put it that way. And I'm cashing my paycheck at Pawn Plus downtown Lancaster, because I just needed to get my cash checked, on my check cash, excuse me. I never did that before, but I had to. That forced me then to physically see my money. And I remember on my coffee table, I would throw all my money down, I'd organize it, and I'd separate the bills that I had. And I'd go to Wise Market and I'd pay my electric. I would get a money order and I'd send my rent. And that really forced me to be super disciplined. And that forced me to strengthen my core and my foundation. So I started looking at things a little bit differently. And that was a huge learning lesson for me. Even now, I don't carry cash on me as often as I used to, or especially during that time. But when I do, I immediately remember that feeling of separating all the money and going through and I tell you what, it really forced me to be super, super strict. If I didn't focus on my core, if I didn't focus on my foundation, my children would have suffered. So please, take the time to focus on yourself, whatever you're going through. And maybe you're not going through anything. God bless you. And maybe this doesn't pertain to you. But maybe you know somebody that it does pertain to. Because as much as maybe you're not going through this, you might know somebody that's going through it. You could share this information with them. Because while I was going through my shit, I didn't really have many people to lean on. I had some, and they know who they are. But I didn't have a lot of people to lean on. I had to really, really, really grind and focus on myself. So, like I said, I'm looking at the Sunday news. I'm looking at the newspaper. If my wife's watching, yes, I read the whole newspaper, and I'm not done with it. So don't throw it away. But taking a step back here, guys, I mean, to build on top of an already existing building, and apparently, buying the air rights is pretty common in New York. It's pretty common in Philly. It's the first time in Lancaster County that this has ever been documented. The watchdog looked at some records and could not find anything. So anyway, I wanted to make this a short episode because this is my first time going live in this manner here at the TCP Studios. Shout out to the Cultured Professional. Shout out to Marquise. Shout out to the whole family. And I hope that you will continue following me as I do these every single Wednesday night. One way or another, you're going to see me. You're going to hear my voice. Next week, I do have a guest scheduled to come right here, sit in this room. All right? Talking to Byron Morrison. Do you know this man? Do you know Rock 10 Studios? Putting everything away here. I'm wrapping it up. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off here. I would like you all to do a couple things for me. Please share this. Absolutely. Share the hell out of it. Follow along the Journeyman Chronicles page. If you are already, share it. Let's get hip to what's going on here at TCP Studios. So follow that page. I'm going to make sure I link it. I'm going to make sure I plug them, as I always have. Foundation. The foundation here. There's a lot of good things going on here. Spring's coming. Shit's starting to grow. Feels pretty good. I got to turn the air conditioner on at home. A lot of people like to wait till May. I do not do that. Okay? I'm a big guy. I sweat. I need that shit on right now. So when I go home from here, I'm flipping on that on switch on the AC. I'm going to clean the filter. I'm going to let the house breathe a little bit first, but I'm going to kick on that AC. I hope you all find a way to maintain some cooling sensations. I don't know if you guys mind the heat in April. I fucking hate it. And I got to cut the grass. I have yet to do that. Shout out to anybody who's cutting grass for a living. This is the time to make your money. Build your foundation, cutting grass. Until then, I need you all to maintain focus and stay continuous through all 4 seasons. My name is Felix C. Arroyo, and these are the Journeyman Chronicles. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.